Rather, before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises to Yah, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. We give double honors to the apostles and prophets and elders of JMS Camp, better known as Great Millstone, for the bring forth the 100% truth that I've been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, Tabernacle of David. I am a brother Zaria coming into this lesson. Now, there was a guy by the name of Luke on TikTok, which we had a discussion on, which he then disagreed and tried, as he claimed, tried to debunk me. Now, when I brought the scriptures out and I brought the information out, going back into the history, even using a reference in the Jewish encyclopedia to go back into the hell of Hellenism of the Jews, which the account is made clear. Then after saying debunked, then he withdrew his statement after saying that the book of Maccabees isn't canon. All right, so this is why you don't waste your time with people like this. They just don't. He literally said out of his own mouth, he just don't believe. All right, he just don't believe. So I decide to look it up to show him, and I did screenshot it, and I did send him. That's why he withdrew his statement, and then he said he has no issues with the first and second Maccabees, but Ezra is not canon. Before you said Maccabees isn't canon, now you withdraw your statement, and now you are saying Ezra isn't canon. Which one is it? Make it make sense. You were proven wrong. Accept your fate. Accept that you can't debunk anyone because you have no wisdom, and move forward. Learn something, because I gave you the accounts. I gave you the websites. I even copy and paste the information during the Hellenization of the Jews at that particular point in time, which you then says, I have no issues with Maccabees. Ezra isn't canon, but I don't believe in anyways. So if you don't believe, why are you trying to fight a talk? Why are you trying to battle a talk which you know you're losing on? You're being prideful, you're laughing, don't leave yet. Let me present the thing for you. He say no rebuttal, debunk. And when I say what I say and I bring forth my information, you're quiet now. You boil down like you boil down. What are you boiling down for? Keep the high horse, keep the prideful mindset. If this is how you call debunking someone, by saying that, making a statement with no source to back it up, laughing with pride, and then losing the very same battle you thought you was going and win, then okay, keep debunking. And more lessons for me. I watch me. People watch me. If you think I'm talking shit, I'm wicked enough. This is him laughing. Look. Come up with a rebuttal. You haven't responded to what I have said. I see no rebuttal. Laugh. What I said. Bam. He said debunk. Look at this. Look. And when I brought the information here, which I looked up, it tells you what historical accurate, bam. And then when I go into the encyclopedia, I say go to your Jewish encyclopedia, or go also into your Jewish encyclopedia to see. Look, let me go down. I want to go down for you to see this. Right. Look up the Hellenization, and the account is there. Go read it. It says, I say go read. No, I say matter of fact, I'll send it to you. As soon as, look at this. As soon as I send the information, watch this, eh? Watch how he withdraw a statement. Watch it. Now I started to laugh. I say, you looking real shady now. Come on now. Lying on history? Did your pastor show you to lie like this? You got destroyed. Here now. I have no problem. This is So lucky for laughing. This is why you don't waste your time with people like this. Wow. Wait, let me just straight to the topic. I'm coming off. All right. So going into it, first and second Maccabees, is it canon? What it says? Yes. The first two books of Maccabees, first and 1 and 2 Maccabees, are considered part of the canonical scriptures by Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox Church, which they are part of the Protestant Apocrypha. So, yes, the answer is what? Yes, it is canon. How could you not consider First and Maccabees book canon when it holds the information as to what took place with the Israelites in the time of the Greek? How could you consider that it's not canon when it's a direct link to the Jew, when they go into the Hellenization, which I just said here, of the Jew, or hell, I think it's the hell in Hellenis, hell in the Hellenization, something like that. I don't want to butcher it. When they go into the Jewish Encyclopedia, you can also go into jewishhistory.org. It's the same account with same Alexander the Great, same Antiochus Epiphanes, or Antiochus Epiphanes, or whatever they call it, and Seleucus and the other generals. Same story, even with Ptolemy, time of the Greeks. Same story in the matter of 2 books, giving full explanation as to what would have taken place, how they polluted the sanctuary, the land of Israel, and also the people. This is not hard. So the title of the topic and the title of the lesson today is, it's an undeniable fact that the book of Maccabees is canon. And mind you, the guy by the name of Luke, remember there are 2 people, that guy, one that speaks, that says, debunking Hebrew Israelites, with a Negro guy, and there's a reddish kind of guy, he looks to be an Edomite. This is Luke, that looks to be an Edomite. Again, his page is Hebrew Israelites Debunked. The same title, just differently phrased. Where is he debunked? I'm yet to wait. Mind you, I should have recorded that part. He couldn't answer my Matthew 25 and verse 33 to 34. So really and truly, we already know who got debunked. I mean, the moment he withdrew his statement and decided to agree is when you lost. When you withdraw a statement and you agree, it's because you lost the argument already. And you have to be sincere about it, you know? You can't lie anymore. Alright, they caught me. Alright, I lost. That's it. But it's not about win or lose in this lesson. We are going into the history of the first of the Hellenization of the Jews, right? To give account and to match with Maccabees 1 and parts of Maccabees 2. All right? We're just making it simple as we can get it. Simple, stupid, so everyone could understand. All right? So, before you go there, let's go into this Wikipedia where it says, Second Maccabee, also known as the second book of Maccabees, second Maccabees, and abbreviated as 2 Mac, I guess, MACC, is a deuterocanonical book which recounts the persecution of Jews under King Antiochus or Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes, and the Maccabean revolt against him. This happened after Alexander the Great, of course, perished after his ruling, right? And the 4 generals, which was Seleucus, Epiphanes, Ptolemy, I can't remember the next one is, some C word. I can't remember how it's pronounced, right? So, let's go into it. It says what? It concludes the defeat of the Seleucid Empire, General Nicanor, in 161 BC by Judas Maccabeus, the leader of the Maccabees. So it gives an account which we are going to go into now instead of continue reading. We could read all the way down, but it's telling you that the book is canonical. Maccabees 2 as canonical, although many include Maccabees 2 as part of biblical prophecy. So this is what it is. It is canonical, whether they like it or not. Not many people would regard it as canonical, but according to law and according to testimony, according to the history of the Jews, it is in fact canonical. So let's go into that history. Now, I want to make it clear and match it with what the scriptures, like I said. Let's go into the book of Maccabees, chapter 1, and verses 11. We could continue from 1, but the way we're reading during the Hellenists, it's going to directly point to where we're going to read just now. So, this is the hell of, okay, the title was wrong. The hell of Hellenism. That's it. And jumping down with the gruesomeness of the Hellenization, it goes to the Hellenist, right? So let's go back up. We read for the first part and then we come down. It says, the hell in Hellenism. Greek culture slowly infiltrated Jewish culture, which we know goes back to what Jews, not Jewish, culture, threatening to destroy the Jewish people in ways tyrants could not do through brute force. After the death of Alexander the Great, the empire in the Mediterranean basin divided into two main sections: the Northern Empire, which includes Syria, Turkey, which was then Asia Minor, and Greece itself was under the domination of a general called Seleucus, and therefore called the Seleucid Empire. The Southern Empire, which was basically Egypt and Africa, was under the domination of a general called Ptolemy, like I said. Right, these kingdoms would rule the Mediterranean world until Rome. So you see, they would rule it until Rome. So now, without further ado, just to get to the point, I want to jump down directly to where it says the Hellenist, because it directly tells you exactly what Maccabees 1 was going into. So the Hellenist, right? You see the title is jewishhistory.org. It's simple, look up. Do your research. It says the Hellenist, about the year 200 BCE, there arose among the Jewish population a group called Misyavnim, meaning Hellenist, who adopted Greek culture as a way of life to such a degree that almost invariably they gave up their Jewish culture and identity. Now, before we continue, let us read immediately how that came to pass. How they gave it up. The first Maccabees chapter 1 and verses 11, it says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. And this device pleased them well. Let me pause. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after what the ordinances of the heathen. Hence, going back to what it was saying, what? That they were adopted Greek culture as a way of life to such a degree, almost invariably, they gave up their Jewish culture and identity. They gave it up. They willingly gave it up, as men are seen here. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, they agreed that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon, let's continue, they built places of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. So they begin to partake of the customs and ways and laws of the heathen. They were given license to do after the ordinances. Those licenses usually goes back in this day and age towards an ID, a form of citizenship, so they could perform and practice the ways and go into these wicked places according to the scriptures. Continuing in verse 15, it says, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. What did they do? And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. Now this word uncircumcised goes both ways. It means they become uncircumcised of their hearts as well as physically. Now, when I read this account to you, you would understand what I'm saying. They physically. Let me read. Let me go and read it. Maybe I'm telling you, they physically did it. Let's read. Verse continues. It says, for instance, the Greek were great believers in nudity. Their sports were done in the nude. Their bathhouse were attended in nude. It continues, says, in the ancient world, the Jews and some Arabs were the only people who were circumcised based off of Abraham. Thus, if you wanted to be a good Greek, you were embarrassed to go to the bathhouse or participate in sports. If you wanted to be a good Greek, and see that Israel adopted the customs of the Greek, and Israel is the salt of the earth, see that they do things better than everyone else, and as they are partaking of these wickedness, they're going to be doing their very best to be diligent in wickedness, because the Bible says what? They are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. So let's continue. It says what? All right. Consequently, Hellenized Jews underwent painful operations at a time with minimum anesthetics to restore their foreskin and appear Greek. Like I was saying, it goes both ways in being uncircumcised, physically and of the heart. They literally did it. This is history. And for those who don't know, many of them, due to these painful procedures, low anesthetics, have received horrible infections. Because when they go into the Jewish encyclopedia, it shows you where many Israelites fell dead after a certain while for having that. It's going to kill them. If you don't do it the right way and you don't have the proper procedures to go through it, you could die. I'm sure you don't know that. It's called infection. It's very simple. But let me not stray, because I want to keep going, right? Now as I go forward, let jump up a little bit to make this even more clear. Dealing with Antiochus or Antiochus. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws, as so all the heathens agreed to according to the commandments of the king, because they were heathens among the children of Israel that were also Hellenized. But remember, they weren't given the laws, statutes, and commandments to be separate, to have wisdom and knowledge and understanding in the sights of the nations. Only Israel had that. Only Israel was chosen to be above all people by the covenant that they made with Yahweh Shem Shai. And that wisdom is their way of life. So when it is taken away, what you feel is going to take place? Which is why the history in Maccabees is made clear. Though it identified there were other heathens, it also made it very clear who the target was upon. Because here it says, all the heathens agreed to the commandments of the king, because they don't really have any substance of a true God as Israel. Let's continue. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Let's keep reading. I want to make sure we get on point with this. Bear with me. Right. I'll read coming down to about verse 7. It says what? For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judea, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days, which also includes your Passover. Let's continue. And pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. Now let's stop. Let's read coming down now to show you the direct linkage it had concerning scriptures and the history. It says what? Imported, as you go on, it says, imported along with the Greek language, customs, and sports, like we showed from the first part, which sports were Greek idols and modes of worship, temples to the Greek gods, and statues of Zeus littered the countryside, which it says each Greek home had its own set of idols, a patron god custom made for the family, as well as a whole set of sacrificial rites. Worst of all, Greek strongholds embraced all the terrible moral looseness of the Greek. So all that pantyman behavior was also part of it. As it goes on to say, as time passed, more and more Jews not only spoke like Greeks, but took on their customs, attitudes, and behaviors, which on as many levels were antithetical to the values of Judaism, or in other words, for the Israelites. Estimates are that a 30% to 40% of the Jewish population became Hellenists. Most of the upper class was simply swept away by this tide of Hellenist thoughts. As I go on to say, some were no doubt simply ignorant of the Jewish life and tradition. Others, however, became vicious and vicious self-haters. They began to hate their own self. Which is why you had a guy by the name of Jason in the second Maccabees. Before we go into that, let me finish read the first Maccabees to make that account clear, because there are more that we have to go into. Because when they go into verses 48, it says that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandments of the king Antiochus or Antiochus, she said he should die. Let's continue. It says, in the self same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judea to sacrifice city by city. Then you see who he focusing on, right? Right. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evil in the land. See? And drove the Israelites into a secret place, even wheresoever they could flee this word was for succor, if that's pronounced. Salak. But I want to get the account going back into the part, because remember, this would a lot from this account here. It is evident as to how we became heathen or became Gentile because of our disobedience to our power Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, and seeing that we have formed a covenant with the heathen. It's evident that we would be cut off, because when they go into the scriptures, like I did yesterday in Leviticus chapter 18, it tells you, hey, don't follow the customs of the heathen, but you'll be cut off. It says, for whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the soul that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. It says, therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any of these abominations, abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am Yahweh your power. Because why? You will be cut off. And what does the word cut off means? Cutting of the covenant, eliminated or killed. Cutting of the covenant. In other words, they have severed the covenant of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. Many of the Israelites, not all, because the ones who chose to keep the covenant, which we could get the account even in the same history, even going back into the second Maccabees, which we'll do in our next video, it was that the ones that kept the covenant was the ones at the end that prospered, and not prospered in the land, but more so prospered in Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, was saved until the time of the Greco-Roman Empire. Not all, but many were martyred for the truth, like the 7 Hebrew boys. And the mother. Let's not forget the mother. Alright. So, and scripture tells you in Sirach chapter 15, let's get that account. Hey, because these are abominable customs. What did Yahweh Shai say? Yahweh Bashim Yoshai says. It says in verses 13, Yahweh hated all abominations, and they that fear Yahweh love it not. So all these abominable customs were not to be committed at the end of the day. But what we're supposed to do, he himself made man from the beginning, and left him in the hand of his counsel, if thou wilt to keep the commandments and to perform acceptable faith. That's the point, because why? He had not commanded any man to do wickedly, neither had given any man license to sin. But they got that ways from the heathen. In other words, Jake said, oh, okay, I can get a license for somebody else and do exactly what I wanted to do to begin with, which they did any time of the Greek, and even today, they're still doing it today. So we will continue with the part 2 of this lesson, because I don't want to make it too long on the next and very soon, right? So Shalom, Yabashim Rashai, Bashim Kakwadash, Brakatham. Stay tuned for the next video.